Hello and welcome to Self Love Summit Design Your Empowered Life. I'm Jerry Cates, your mentor and guide on this journey. And today we have Laura Beth Ryan. The name of her talk is, or this conversation is, The Resilience Factor: How to Overcome Your Toughest Challenges with Grit and Grace. Laura Beth Ryan is the owner of Cheerful Hearts, a company created to inspire, educate, and empower women. She is an international empowerment coach, motivational speaker, and author. With 30 years of experience in personal, professional, and spiritual growth, she helps high achieving professional women around the world who are overwhelmed and unfulfilled to minimize their stress, simplify their lives, and overcome their toughest challenges with grit and grace. She overcame a debilitating spinal injury that left her bedridden for 10 years while creatively raising four sons, started her own business from her bed while simultaneously co created a six-figure tech company. She successfully manages celiac disease and is a breast cancer survivor, known as the Queen of Resilience in the industry. Laura Beth is passionate about sharing her powerful story and struggles to equip you to become resilient and unstoppable in every area of your life. Today's conversation is called The Resilience Factor: How to Overcome Your Toughest Challenges with Grit and Grace. And I want to welcome you, Laura. Laura Beth, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, pleasure to be here, Jerry. Happy to share.
Let's start with you. Tell us a
Okay.
little bit about who you are and why this work matters so deeply to you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm so passionate about what I do. In helping women, this is like perfectly aligned, the Self-Love Summit, because I come from a background of the opposite, which is self-loathing. And I didn't even know it. I was going through the motions and trying to be this perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect person, and pushed my little body, who had already had an car accident, way too hard, and and then ended up with spinal injury at the peak of my life at 28 years old. Was told I'd never walk again. I couldn't even sit or stand. So when that happened, I was devastated, and for a while, I really struggled with the will to live. I had no clue because I was really good at wearing a happy mask, doing all the things, being the perfect Susie homemaker, but I really didn't realize how much my past, my childhood, and the dysfunction affected me on the inside, and the damage that it did to me emotionally. If you look at my pictures, you look at my family back then, we look like the picture perfect family. But there was a lot of internal negative self-talk, negative struggle, and such a lack of love and compassion for myself. And I find that with the majority of women feel like they can be amazing and doing all these things, yet they still feel they're not enough. And so it is so I'm so passionate, and I love what I do because I want to help shift the paradigm of success and letting women in particular, especially the high achievers, because we do so much, and I'm one of them, to learn how to really feel fulfilled inside. Because once you feel fulfilled, once you feel peace and you're kinder to yourself, everything else around your life is going to flow and soar, and it's just going to be more joyful. And truly, the bottom line is my company's Cheerful Hearts, and it was created when I was bedridden. Had no idea what I was going to do with it at the time, but I knew I was going to encourage people, and I knew that I wanted people to find an inner joy, an inner peace, and an inner fulfillment that I was able to find during those very difficult times.
You know, when you mentioned high achievers, I think that goes across the spectrum. You know, we can be a high achiever in our business or, but women are high achievers anyway. They're taking
Correct.
care of the family. They're taking care of this. They're taking care of that. They're high achievers. So I want to make sure that everybody realizes that you're probably a high achiever. If you're taking
You
care
know,
of everyone
Jerry,
else.
that is a great point because these women that I have coached, I go out and I do a lot of international public speaking to women's groups. And the women who hire me, it's always surprising to me. They say, "Oh, I don't think I'm a high achieving woman." They don't even realize it. I didn't realize it back in the day, right? So it's a great point. Most women run this race in such a way, it's just unhealthy for us, for our well-being.
And it starts also what you said about that internal dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to
Yes,
change that internal dialogue. And we often don't even realize it's going on. It's just what we do.
exactly. Because I'm sure you know this, but 90% of our behaviors are coming from our subconscious. We're just going through the motions and we don't know why we're behaving the way we're behaving. We just do it automatically in our subconscious. So one thing that I do is I'm really good at very quickly going in, talking to the person and like pulling what's sort of underneath right to the forefront. So we can get to the root of it as to why they do the things they do and they're feeling unfulfilled. Um, and as you know, as a coach, once people take that time out to slow down, they actually go faster in life, right?
Mm,
Because they're taking time out, finally for themselves and then to carve out what it is and how their life and business wants to look instead of just being on that treadmill nonstop.
right, right. So, what was the defining moment that woke you up and put you on this path?
It was definitely that injury
Mm,
and struggling with such shame and worth. God, I felt so worthless. Here I had four little boys. I had never stopped. I was always running around. And then all of a sudden, here I am, bam, flat. And so young, and one of the severest injuries in your SI joints, and the doctors were like, I'm so sorry. They expected I would be that way." And so I had to grieve and allow myself to grieve, but then I went to therapy because I knew I couldn't stay in that state. Therapy helped me some, but a turning point truly was hiring my life coach. I wanted to learn how to be more positive and acceptance and of the disability, and learn how to live my life with joy and purpose despite the condition. So my turning point was reaching out for help, realizing I needed help, right? A lot of women, one of my clients, I've had her, she's executive CEO of a big accounting firm. I went to a speaking event and she said, until I heard you speak, I had no idea I needed a coach. I had no idea what was going on. I knew I had these internal things. I knew I wasn't living, as I would like to with I was just all over the place, chaotic. She said, but when you talked, it made me realize, hey, I do need help. And one of the messages I share is takes so much courage to ask for help. And I did that, and that changed everything for me. Hiring my coach who understood where I was, but also helped me um, figure out a path that would bring me towards joy. And to be honest, after a couple years of working on myself, realizing um, that I had to learn that my value was not in what I do, but in my who. And that was a big epiphany. And once I got that, Jerry, I was like, okay, you know what? Whether I can run around, clean, cook, take care of the family, do the activities with the children out, that outside of the house, I have a lot of value just in who I am, just because I am loved by a higher power And I hung on to that. I clung to that. And I said, okay, I am going to choose joy. I literally woke up and said, that's it. If I have to live in a bed, I'm not giving up. As you can see, I'm sitting up and I'm not in that not bedridden anymore. Um, and I had to say, no matter what, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have a good attitude, and I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful. And gratefulness brought that joy. Instead of being sad at what I couldn't do, I started going, okay, I have four walls. I have a family. I have children. I have my voice still. I have the ability, I have my mind that I can utilize. So a big turning point is just literally shifting my mindset with my
Something
coach.
important, important you said though was about asking for help. And what I
Yes.
see a lot of, and especially in women, and my specialty is women who are overgiving,
Yes.
who have poor boundaries, and but those overgivings have a tough time receiving help or asking for help. So it's that
100%.
understanding that we've got to be willing to ask for help.
Yes. That's the biggest hurdle, really, for women. And the society has made it like we just have to be so strong all the time. And that's not the case. We don't have to, like, we can't always be strong. I'm a leader, but I still have people I lean on. And from for that's what's got me to this place in my life is always reaching out for help. And truly it's a strength. And once we get over like the stigma or the, oh, it'll say something's wrong with me, like we have to know we all have flaws, and that's okay. So many, the overgiver, the reason, because I was an overgiver, it goes right along with the high achiever. You give and give and give because you feel you have to. And most women are doing it from a place of that subconscious mind we talked about. And
Mhm.
it's not that we don't still want to give or we don't want to please, but what we have to turn that around and start making sure our tank is full, that we give the same to ourselves so we're not burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed out, and unfulfilled.
Yeah, there's a quote I heard by Catherine Woodward Thomas, and it was in a Unbreakable Bonds recording that I got at some point. But she said she was talking about self-love. There were three building blocks to self-love, and one was clarity, one self-clarity, self-compassion. But when she got to self-love, she said, take care of yourself well enough so that you feed others from your overflow.
Yes, that's so
Yes.
good. And it's usually the opposite.
Oh yeah, the pond
It,
is empty and there's no good water coming in.
yeah, you're right. And the truth is, what I am able to convey is that, you don't want to end up like I did. I pushed my body. I pushed my body so hard. I had four children back to back. Never for like 10 years, all I was doing was pregnant or nursing. And I was teeny, and I had had a car accident with already a weak spine. So, I was giving and giving out of this obligation, out of this perfectionism, out of this really more from a place of pain instead of a place of love. And so I can even tell you, Jerry, when I used to hear the word self-love 30, 25 years ago, I thought, "Ugh, that's selfish," because
Mhm.
that's what I was taught. Selfish. You're just selfish if you think about yourself. You're just selfish if you take care of yourself. You need to do, give to everybody else. And so you have to shift your mindset. And it usually takes another party to come along, a mentor, a coach. It's very difficult to change those really patterns, right? That have been integrated in us, in our neural pathways in our brain. It's very difficult to change that on your own. And when you have someone come alongside of you, like you do and like I do, it's amazing how quickly and how effectively you can turn that all around. And you can learn to love yourself. And then once you learn to love yourself, you actually can give more to others because you feel better about yourself. You are giving your best instead of running on an empty tank and giving what you can. It's a much more effective way to live.
And I want to say that it's little by little, but you start to realize the changes. Like I have a workshop I do, and we were on our third one, and the lady said, "My life has changed so much." Her connection with herself, her confidence, her relationships, just by doing a few things in her life. You know, and so and going back to what you were saying about self-love, we look at it as that is selfish. Oh, love
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You can't do that. The problem with that is how can you give away something you don't have?
100%. A hundred
Yeah.
percent. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not selfish. Like they gotta change that paradigm. Self-love and self-care is not selfish. Now, if that's all you thought about was yourself, of course that could be selfish. But that's not most women, right?
No, right. We have to reel it in for what we're doing for everyone else and source it through us.
Yeah.
Source it through us. See us as sourcing it through us. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So many women carry heavy loads right now. From your perspective, what's the biggest block or lie holding them back? And we probably have touched on a little bit of it, huh?
Yeah, I think the biggest block is pressure they feel. The internal pressure to perform, to be the best, and perfectionism. And I have coached women and they say, I'm not a perfectionist. That's this person or that person. I didn't even think I was a perfectionist. I didn't know I was a workaholic. I never sat still until I was forced to. So I
Mm.
think a lot of it is the unconscious blocks and the internal struggles that they're feeling, but they just don't know how to shift on their own.
What helped you break free, or what have you seen makes the biggest difference for the clients you serve? What helped you break free?
What helped me personally break free?
Mm.
Um, well, I'm a strong person of faith, so I have to say first, my faith. In the beginning, I was holding on by a thread. Like, are you there? Like, this seems terrible. I don't want to live like this. But then because I was forced to be completely still in my body, it was actually an opportunity. So the breakthrough probably would have never, for me, had I kept going on that rat race, treadmill path, and my personality is such a go-getter anyway, I wouldn't have stopped and slowed down enough to break free. So I really believe that slowing down, looking inward, knowing my value, learning what my worth was, that was a big break free moment for me. And my clients, some of them, it ranges. Some of them have pretty good self-esteem and confidence already, but their life is so chaotic. So they need me to come in. And one of my clients who she's amazing. Another person that would say, I'm not amazing. I'm not a high achiever. A doctor, ophthalmologist, several children, had her own company. She was doing it all. And she still felt not good enough. And she basically said, you know what you are for me? A life organizer. Because
Mm.
she didn't need a lot of the inner healing, but some clients do.
Right.
But she just was running and she didn't know how to delegate. She didn't know how to take care of herself and put herself first. So the breakthrough for them is just talking to me, going through the experiences that they deal with. And I'm telling you, they get breakthroughs fast because I've lived it, because of my continuing education and training for over 25 years, and just the gift that I have of being able to look right inside their soul. Um, they'll walk, some people just walk away with my 190-minute session that we're going to be giving away in the VIP, and they'll tell me that I had a coach for a year, and in one 90-minute session, I got more out of that than I've had for the last entire year because I go deep and they feel safe. All right, they need a safe space, and there's no judgment. And I think women need to know that they feel safe. And then once you feel safe, all the judgment, all the negativity, it melts away. And then very quickly they start feeling freer and happier in their life.
Sounds like that's your superpower.
Probably.
Your superpower, for sure. Your superpower. If someone listening could only do one thing today to start shifting their life, what should it be?
Oh, just one. That's hard, Jerry. Um, I would say reach out for support.
Mm,
I would say that's the number one thing they can do. There's so many women that or people that you are interviewing on this summit. I'd say go with who resonates with you. And look into what you can do with a mentor like yourself, myself, and whoever else you have on, because your life a year from now, you won't even recognize yourself. And you will be transformed and feeling joy like never before.
yes. Yes. And I want to just make the distinction, you make a good point to reach out to someone that resonates with you. What I want to do is point out that just don't reach out to anybody, right?
Correct.
We can look at we just did a thing on evolutionary partnerships and identified what wasn't an evolutionary partnership. Those are the ones that hold us down, that there's judgment, that there's all those things. So we're going to need that distinction to reach for help on a higher level.
Absolutely. You want someone not at your level or not where you've been because you're going to get the same thing. Um, I've always, when you want something, right? You're not gonna, if you want to go open a restaurant, right? You're not going to go to someone who's never opened a restaurant and ask them for their advice. But people do that all the time with their relationships, with their finances, with their um, looking for confidence, looking for minimizing their stress, whatever the case is. And you're right. One thing you have to really be careful of is not sharing with the wrong person. Because if you share with the wrong person, it will actually be detrimental to your well-being.
You're right, because people have their opinions and their beliefs. And so
Yeah.
use some discernment and
Yes.
like you've said, reach out to someone on the summit. There's going to be some
Yeah.
incredible opportunities. Notice who resonates with you. Who are you listening to that that person is speaking the truth for you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh gosh, I can relate to what they said. I would like more joy in my life,
Hmm.
or, confidence, or better communication skills. Like whatever they're looking for, I guarantee you on your self-love summit, as many people as you're interviewing and sharing with everybody, they're going to find it. But the thing is, they have to take the time to do it. Another big block is time. People think that they don't have time. Buddha says you think there's time, but there isn't. And that's a really big block, especially for women. I don't have time. Because they got this, and this, and this going on. So the thing is though, we all have the same amount of time. It's just a matter of deciding to carve that time out for yourself.
And the amplified effects that has when you actually do pause, stop, and carve that time out. And it is, I use that phrase a lot, carve that time out for yourself, because it's literally what it takes. Because we're so busy running in every direction that we do have to
Yeah,
get a knife and cut some time out for us and make it
you
permanent.
do.
you
You
know,
do. And you know what's amazing is that, you know, I know you and I we're busy leaders, right? In what we're doing. If I say I have too much, not enough time to take that time out to reflect and talk to my coach, then I know I'm a little off because then nope, I'm my own first client. Like I want to walk the walk, not just talk the
Right.
talk. And so in order to show up great for my clients and give them the best value, I need to slow down and take care of Laura Beth and make sure, and of course I have multiple health conditions. And so that has taught me to pace myself and to take care of myself. It's like all these things that came against me, all turned out for the positive because they were all my teachers. So, whatever their struggle is, there's going to be a positive that comes from it. And they just need to know that with the right person, they can totally overcome anything. That's what resilience is all about. We're all going to have obstacles. We're all going to have hard times. Most of us weren't taught healthy communication. We weren't taught boundaries. We weren't taught these things. The majority of us were not taught how to live life, personally or professionally, in a healthy manner. And it's time for that to change, right?
Absolutely. And going to therapy, and I've done my years of therapy, there was a lot that happened in my childhood and a lot of healing went on. And I appreciate that. But having coaches, and I've had a
Yep.
number of them over the years, having coaches, it presented it in a different way. It gave me direction to go. It taught me to look within myself and to
Yeah.
trust myself because I,
Yeah,
I think that's a big problem.
it's a very different experience. I had several therapists and it was okay, but it's just like I was talking to somebody where with as a coach, it was like, oh, here's your actionable step. Here's your accountability. Here's your support. It's much more effective. And we can either talk about your past or not talk about your past. But really, it's about what is your problem right now? What is your biggest obstacle, and how can we move forward right away? What can we do to go around that obstacle or get over that obstacle so that you can live that successful life that you really desire?
And all along, we're pulling that information from the client, from the person we're working with. We're not
Yes,
giving advice. We're not telling them what to do,
right.
right? We're helping them open their eyes and see it with a wider vision, right? To see more
Yes,
possibility. And the thing about coaching is that, and I know this is true for you too, when you have a client, you see a bigger possibility than they have even dreamed of yet
yes.
for
Yes.
them,
Like
for
I
them.
see their full potential and I get so excited. And a lot of people have never had someone in their corner like that.
Right.
And I'm telling you, my coach, her name was Trish Robichaux. I had 20 years ago, and I've gone back to her over the years for different things. Like when I went through cancer, I needed some support, and she was amazing. And and then I hired different coaches for different things. Like I've hired coaches for business. I've hired coaches for finance, like to shift my mindset. Like there's so many different aspects. Right now I'm in a holistic program with a coach because after the cancer treatment, I lost the use of my arms for 3 years due to complications. And this is why I need
Mm.
to go back to my coach because this little independent lady who had overcome and learned how to walk again and was working, all of a sudden I couldn't work because I had no arms. And it was terrible. So I had to then go back to my coach, and I was very weak at that time. And I hated putting my business on pause, but it was the best thing. That was my self-care. It was like,
Mm.
plus, I also knew I wasn't going to be in a good space to give my clients what they needed at that point because I went very low again emotionally. And in that coach coming beside me, she just the one person from the very beginning when I told her about Cheerful Hearts, I said, I don't know. I had been writing. I didn't tell you this, but I had written for 10 years before I met her. Um, and and I had all this writing and I thought I was going to get better. I thought Cheerful Hearts was going to be, okay, I'm going to get better. I'm going to go cheer people up in hospitals with my kids. That's what I had no clue. it was deposited in me. Yeah. And it was nothing like that. So, but she came when she heard my story of how I had written all these things. She's like, you're sitting on a gold mine right here. So I turned it into a greeting card and gift line by partnering with somebody
Mhm.
and from my bed and my laptop computer. But I didn't have much self-belief at that time, 25 years ago. But she believed in, she saw it. She was like, you are incredible, like amazing. And look what you've done with your life, even from a bed. Look how you give of your heart to those children. Like she completely shifted my whole way of being. And it gave me the belief in myself that I had never had my entire life.
See what a coach can do? They hold
Yeah.
that bigger picture, that bigger picture. So when participants apply what you're sharing, what's possible for them in, say, a year from now? Paint us a picture.
Oh gosh. I'll give you an example of my current client that we're just about to wrap up a 6-month program. When she met me, she was like lost. She was saying that I'm just not happy. Like I don't even know how to be happy. I just don't know anymore. And so she hired me. We went through the process. Now, there was a time where, because it's hard work and people can't be afraid of hard work. Because, like you said, we're just there to guide, to support, to help, to encourage, but the person has to do the work, the inner work. And there was a point where she was like, this is so hard. She had to make so many changes. Now, these aren't changes that like you said, I don't tell her to do them. I ask, what do you feel? And then pull it out of them. And then they commit only to what they want to commit to. It's not me telling them what to do. And when she went through the program with me, by the end, which we're coming up to, she's just smiling nonstop. And she's like, I feel so happy and at peace. And so ultimately, that's what we all want, right? We want to feel at peace inside. So that's what they would experience, a complete transformation of their entire really mindset, their life, their business. It will shift into so much more ease and peace. And that to me is success.
I'd like to call it coming home to yourself.
I love that.
Come home to
Yes,
yourself. Yeah,
that's
that's what that means.
beautiful.
Peace, right? Yes. Ooh, that even
Yes.
gives me goosebumps. Um, you created something special for our attendees. What is it and how will it help them step forward?
Absolutely. Well, I have two things. For everybody, I have my cheat sheet that they will get a link from you. That's free to everybody. And this cheat sheet, it's super simple because I know you guys need fast, right? Because you're busy women. So if you download my cheat sheet, it's just going to give you real nice bullet points, super simple things you can start applying right now to start lessening your stress, simplifying and finding more happiness. And then following that, you're going to get 5 days of just 2-minute audibles, which are little like sound bites that you're going to hear me give you even more personalized tips and wisdom that you're going to be like, aha, that's what I needed right now in my life. So it's going to help you immediately start taking those action steps, starting to have more clarity, understanding, and start loving yourself more. And so that's for everybody. And then for your VIPs, I have something really special. I rarely do this, but normally this is a $495 um it's not a package, it's a 90-minute session. It's an intensive, massively deep. We go in, we dive deep. There's an exercise that they do, and we very quickly find what it is, their blocks, what they want to work on, clarity, and they leave with motivation, encouragement, wisdom, and strategies that will really help them soar right away. And I'm giving that away as a gift. So that's a $500 value that they will that your and there's only 5 spots because it takes a lot of my time and it's a high value. So if you're out there and you want it, I say grab it quick because it'll go quickly. So all they have to do is click the link. They'll read all the bullet points of what they will get out of this session. And I promise them they won't feel the same. They will feel like a different person and they will feel hope, big time
Mm,
hope once we are done.
beautiful. What a generous gift. What a generous gift. And um, take advantage of it. When this airs, if it they're not all gone by then, right? But when this airs, go straight to the bulletin board that I built for you and go right to her and take advantage of it. Um, Now I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yes.
If you could leave every participant with one truth that would change their life, what would it be?
One truth,
Hmm.
you are deeply valued. You have inherent self-worth. And I want
Mm.
everybody to know that deeply. You need to know that. You are loved exactly as you are.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Thank you, Laura Beth, for this energetic and enlightening conversation. I so appreciate that you said yes to the summit. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
my pleasure. It aligns perfectly with what I do. So thank you for inviting me.
It sure does. It sure does align with what you do. It was perfect. Okay, thank you.